Yeah! Picture me! Chiefs or die! Place and time, Joyous Wolf, Roadrunner Atlantic Records. Place and time, January 19th, 2020. Your Kansas City Chiefs advance to Super Bowl 54, clinching the AFC Championship title at Arrowhead Stadium. 35, the Tennessee Titans. 24, Patrick Mahomes, baby. Patrick Mahomes. Who's been calling it? Place and time, Kansas City. Place and time, January 19th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs, freaks worldwide of all ages. Your Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. For the first time in 50 years. What a game. What a game. But if you go back to my Friday preview show, ladies and gentlemen, I said the Kansas City Chiefs 34, the Tennessee Titans 23. I just didn't feel the Titans could stay up. They came out strong. But this is the Kansas City Chiefs, place and time. Your Kansas City Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. You have to excuse me. You have to excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs, freaks worldwide of all ages. If I say I was speechless, you wouldn't believe me. Let's try to break down this moment. Let's try to break down what we have just experienced. The Titans got up 10-0. The Chiefs came down and scored. You know what happened. The world saw it. Titans got up 17-7 on a long 9-minute drive, and you would have thought, wow, Titans got all the momentum. They are the Cinderella. And when you drive, when you're the underdog and you are able to drive 80 yards for a touchdown drive and use over 9 minutes of time of possession, those are killers. Those are killers. But Patrick Mahomes, doesn't matter if he was cold, sitting there on the freaking sidelines, 4-5 plays down the field, beautiful 22-yard pass in between the hash marks to Tyreek Hill that told the Tennessee Titans, no matter how much or how much time you use, we're coming back at you. So after the Titans getting 3 scores the first 3 possessions, the Chiefs are back in the game. 3 minutes left. The Titans get the ball back, try to do something for half. The Chiefs force a 3 and out. Huge. And oh my goodness. Patrick Mahomes, with 23 seconds left on the clock, the Chiefs are at the 30. He rolls first about 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He rolls to his left, decides to tuck the ball and run. Makes a whole slew of moves and scores on a sensational touchdown run that pretty much, in my opinion, decided the game. No, the game wasn't over, but Patrick Mahomes' greatness is hard to overcome when you're the opponent. Patrick Mahomes' greatness is hard to, when Patrick gets it going, he's unstoppable. You know it, I know it, the world's know it. Who are those who've been following me on YouTube for the past 3 years? Had to listen to me talk about Patrick Mahomes' greatness. I'm not going to toot my own horn. I'm just thankful that Brett Veach did everything he could to draft the kid and bring him to Kansas City. I'm so freaking thrilled to be a Chiefs fan. I've waited, as a fan, me personally, I waited a long time. I was a Chiefs season ticket holder for 21 years. I'm kind of rambling because I'm numb. But we're going to the Super Bowl. And it's because of Patrick Mahomes. Let's look at these stats, because look at me sitting here pondering my thoughts, and happy tears isn't probably what you all come to see. Let's look at these stats here, baby. Let's look at these awesome Kansas City Chiefs stats. Kansas City Chief Patrick Mahomes was 23 of 35, 294 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was a leading ground gainer, 8 carries, 53 yards, 1 touchdown. Damian Williams had 17 carries, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyreek Hill had 1 carry for 7 yards. Our leading wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, steps up in the AFC Championship game. He was huge last year in the overtime loss in the AFC Championship game. He was huge today. Sammy Watkins had 7 receptions, 114 yards, 1 big touchdown that iced the game. The Titans saw Sammy Watkins get deep and went, oh, shit. But that's what you get when you fall asleep on Sammy. But that's what the Chiefs have. They have a plethora of offensive weapons. They got to think, okay, he's going to Tyreek Hill here. No, he's going to go to Travis Kelce here. Oh, man, this McCall Hardman's a stud. And there goes Sammy Watkins flying over the middle saying, hey, I'm still fast. I was still a top 5 draft pick 5 years ago. I'm still one of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL. They can't cover the freaking team, man. Patrick Mahomes just freaking slung it. He just freaking slung it. And so freaking stoked. So stoked. The Chiefs win 35-24. Big players make big plays in big time games. And your Kansas City Chiefs made some great plays. All right, folks. I got some interviews here to do. People that were at the game. I hope you sit back and let me interview them. Welcome back to Shaggy Shane. My guest to my left is none other than Tony Budd, who was at today's game between the Kansas City Chiefs and Tennessee Titans for the AFC Championship supremacy. Tony, you sat in the end zone on the west side. You were there to watch this whole entire magical evening. How was it, bro?
It was awesome. Defense was flying around, especially in the second half. We were getting stops. I'm stoked. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're AFC champs. Finally.
Yeah!
Finally!
You know, Tony, you and I were both season ticket holders in Section 110 from 1991 to 2011. Yeah, we were heartbroken many a time. And we've had expectations about how the Chiefs were going to do in playoffs times. I was at the first playoff victory at Arrowhead, December 91.
So was I.
We were there, and we thought it would be a wonderful thing. We thought, wow, just get Chiefs, get a home game in the playoffs, we'll win. They won the first game. They won the second game in 93 and lost 6 straight. Went 1-1 last year. What do you take away from today's game in the stands that was either similar or different than what we went through as season ticket holders in the 90s? What was different about this time?
Defensively, when we were out there, we were so loud. The whole game, even when, Tennessee drove it down and scored, or they got the field goal, the fans they just didn't give up. And I thought that was real special. And once we got the lead and Mahomes had that 31-yard run around in and bowled his way into the end zone, that was just epic. And wow.
Do you feel like the The stadium is just as loud as it was now as it was in the 90s?
It was loud like it was back then. But there's a lot of new young kids out there raising hell for the Chiefs, and they want to, you know, experience a championship like we did for so long. I mean, I'm 51. You're finally 50.
Yep.
You were barely in your 20s. I was 21 when we first got season tickets, and
The Magic's here, dude. We're
no
going
doubt.
to the Super
We're
Bowl.
going to the Super Bowl.
Finally! Yeah! That's Tony Budd. We got Clay Whittler, Red Tribe Cinema, coming back.
Peace out.
Welcome back to Shaggy Shane Entertainment. My guest to my left is none other than Clay Whittler of Red Tribe Cinema. He was on the 50-yard line today's AFC Championship game, sitting in section 118, row 3. Clay, you have been to the last 4 playoff games at Arrowhead Stadium.
I have.
Under Patrick Mahomes. He's 3-1 in those games, obviously. What is it about Patrick Mahomes that is different than the quarterbacks the Kansas City Chiefs had? Or let me rephrase it by saying this. What is it about Patrick Mahomes' game that separates him from any other quarterback the Kansas City Chiefs have ever had? You were at all 4 playoff games under Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
What is different about Patrick?
Nothing phases him. The last 2 weeks, the Chiefs have been down 24-0 and 10-0, and they have really not had much of a running game at all, especially in the first half of these games, and nothing phases him. He's so even keel, and he doesn't feel the pressure. We saw this last year against the Patriots. I mean, he started poorly, but even though the Chiefs were down, they still came back.
Yeah.
And this year, we've seen it for 2 entire games. The only reason the Chiefs have been stopped this postseason is because they've dropped passes, literally. That's the only reason anybody has stopped their offense. When the Chiefs catch the balls that Mahomes throws, they're unstoppable.
Right.
Period.
Clay, I got to talk about something with you. 2 years ago, when you asked me and Lance Twidwell of The Spoken to come on board to make videos, we've made a video on YouTube that has over 345,000 views. Curse of the Kingdom.
Yes, sir.
Rise of Mahomes. I felt it in my bones. I had goosebumps putting that project together because it was real, and that video still gets views because it's real. When we were saying curse of the kingdom, we were not cursing the kingdom. We were saying there was an actual curse.
There was.
Trust me, I was at 6 straight home Kansas City Chiefs playoff losses. There wasn't the magic at quarterback that got us over the edge. I don't need to go game by game of what happens. We know our Chiefs' history. Clay, I can't thank you enough for not only all the other videos you had me take part in, but did you feel the same magic I know there's other videos. There's Arrowhead Avengers. There's another video that you got coming along the way soon. But going back to Curse of the Kingdom, Rise of Mahomes, did you feel the magic that was about to take place in not only the next 2 Kansas City Chiefs football seasons, but for the next generation to come?
I didn't know for sure, but we all knew what had come before for the Chiefs at the quarterback position, and we all had an idea of what Mahomes can do and what he represented. And he's clearly fulfilled on that promise and far exceeded our expectations, to be frank. But this is people make excuses for playoff losses,
Right.
no matter who their team is. Not just Chiefs fans.
Right.
And the NFL has always been a quarterback-driven league, period, going back even to the 60s. And if you have a quarterback who can make plays in the postseason, you have a chance, period. And now the Chiefs they got the best one. So they got more than a chance.
Damn, Skippy. And last question, Clay. I need you to tell the Shaggy Shane viewers, what was today's entire experience like at Arrowhead Stadium watching the Chiefs knock down the wall and win the AFC Championship? Please tell my viewers, Clay, what the experience was like.
I think it kind of rolled into what happened last week. When it was 24-0 last week, people were down, but nobody ever looked defeated. And that's because they know we have Patrick Mahomes, and they know we're only a couple big plays from getting back into a game. So we won that game. When it was 10-0 today, nobody in that stadium was worried. Everybody knew that we were going to have the lead at some point in that game, unless they just knew. And when the Chiefs pulled to within 3 points, when it was 17-14, it was quite apparent the Titans could not stop the Chiefs' offense. And then Mahomes did something that we've never seen a quarterback take off 30 yards away from the end zone and run over two dudes to get into the end zone. When Mahomes would not be denied on that play, everybody in that stadium knew that they were going to win that game, period. And that was amazing. It was amazing to see. I saw lots and lots of Chiefs fans who have been fans for 50 years. And the looks on their faces, I'll never forget. We saw a guy at the end of the game, 20 minutes after the game, after most of the people had cleared out. He was sitting about 30 rows up in section 119. And he was just sitting there by himself, staring at the field. And he was having a moment. And I walked over and I said, are you having a moment, buddy? And he said, I've been a Chiefs fan for 50 years. And that's all he said.
Magic today at Arrowhead Stadium. That is Clay Windler of Red Tribe Cinema. Welcome back to Shaggy Shane Entertainment. My guest to my left is none other than Lance Twidwell of The Spoken. Lance, we did it, buddy.
We did.
We're going to the Super Bowl. AFC West champs, AFC Divisional Round champs, more importantly, AFC champs headed to Super Bowl 54. Brother Lance, it was almost 2 years ago. April of 2017, I wanted to call you over to be on my mock draft Kansas City Chiefs show on my YouTube page. I'd never done a mock draft YouTube page. Feel free to scroll back on videos to April of 2017, where Lance Twidwell and myself sat down and talk about the Chiefs need to go draft a quarterback at this time. Some people were saying, hold on, Shaggy. We know you and Lance are freaking wanting a quarterback in 2017. Let's just wait till next year and get Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold. And I was like, no, man, we got to look at Deshaun Watson. We got to take a long look at Deshaun Watson as well as Patrick Mahomes and this kid, Mitchell Trubisky. So Lance came over, and we both talked about what quarterback we wanted. I rib him because I said he wanted Deshaun Watson and I wanted Patrick Mahomes. Ladies and gentlemen, there was no other person happier about the Chiefs drafting Patrick Mahomes than Lance Twidwell of The Spoken. Check out his videos. We both lost our minds when that pick happened. Lance, I want to go back to that show for a minute. Did you feel in my heart, did you feel in your heart as well as I felt in my heart that the Chiefs were on the precipice of something special if they would take care of the quarterback decision at that time?
Going back to that day, I just remember the only thought that I had in my mind was the Chiefs just have to make sure they get this one right. Because not knowing why your team decides to continually not only pass up on quarterbacks in the draft, but then go the retread method year after year after it's the same movie over and over again, I had to really stop and think if I was going to continue to believe that this team was going to get the job done, if they were actually going to take that risk that everybody knew, they knew that they needed to make. And I'll be honest with you, Shane, I think the words I said in that video was, I would love Deshaun Watson, I would love Patrick Mahomes, I'll take a chance on anybody, just make sure you get us a quarterback. And obviously the Chiefs made the right choice. They, in fact, made the greatest draft pick that I think any team in the history of the NFL has ever made. And that's one Patrick Mahomes. And we saw that today as a representation of what greatness we are already seeing in the fact that this guy's not even in his prime yet. So to go back to that day, I think about that day a lot because it was actually the first time you and I think ever did a video in your studio, man. And it was a true blessing to be a part of that and to look back and remember those times and how I remember how you and I were such on the same page about it, that it was absolutely time. It had been time for over 30 years. And I think it's, if you want to feel my heart real quick, it touches me to know that Shane and I got to share that, man, to be, I don't want to say the pioneers of it. I don't want to make it sound arrogant, but the fact that we were one of the few vocal Chiefs fans out there to say, you know what, enough is enough. Let's make this shit happen.
Right, and it happened. I can't thank Lance enough. We bumped into Brett Veach at training camp that year, and he really liked Clay Windler's Patrick Mahomes t-shirt, and he's told us, be ready to be amazed. And I told Brett Veach, Brett, the only reason we are here because of that number 15 jersey, Patrick Mahomes. We had to wait a whole year for Patrick Mahomes to be the starter. And in my friendship and in our friendship with Pat Mahomes Sr., Pat Mahomes Sr. told me above and beyond how Brett Veach Patrick Mahomes Sr. validated Brett Veach, saying, "Yep, Brett Veach was coming around 2 years in a row watching Patrick." Patrick was there Brett Veach was there in Patrick's ear when Deshaun Watson came the week before the draft, and then Patrick Mahomes came the next day. Brett Veach spent a lot of time in Patrick Mahomes' quarter. He spent a lot of time. So we know Brett Veach is connected at the hip to Patrick Mahomes. And total validation to Brett Veach today. Brett Veach at the NFL Combines in 2018, his first time as a general manager, had the national media in front of him. The national media doesn't know anything about Patrick Mahomes other than the one game he started on New Year's Eve 2017 at Denver. They asked Brett Veach, "Brett, what can you tell us about your new quarterback, Patrick Mahomes?" And without hesitation, Brett Veach didn't blink. As I said, he didn't hesitate. He said, "Patrick Mahomes is the best athlete that I've ever seen." And that put Brett Veach's freaking integrity, his personality, what he was on the line. Because the media kind of looked at him and thought, "Oh my God, this GM's not going to make it. He's already saying that this quarterback is the greatest athlete he's ever seen." What do you think about the validation of Brett Veach and Patrick Mahomes, Lance?
I mean, it echoes across the whole stadium and across the whole organization, quite frankly, because of the fact that it starts from the top. Because although Brett Veach deserves a ton of credit, it all starts to me with Clark Hunt, because of the fact that you want to talk about validation. This man said before this season that they're going to go and get the Lamar Hunt trophy back, then they're going to go and get the Lombardi trophy, and anything less won't be a success. And I think that for the first time in many, many years, the Chiefs finally have people that are on the same page that are running this thing. And I've always been the one that gives more credit to Andy Reid and Clark Hunt for what they do, and I think Brett Veach is a part of that. But I will say this. It is true that Brett Veach was the one that first came out and said that Patrick Mahomes needs to be the quarterback of this franchise. So forever, no matter what happens from here on out, Brett Veach will forever be attached to that legacy, because he is the one that really set forth that motion. He gave that inertia, and he let Andy Reid know that this is the guy, and Andy Reid trusted his judgment, and Andy Reid now is picking his teeth with the bones of his opponents because of Patrick Mahomes. So that's the reason. That's why we are here right now. And I will say this real quick, Shane. You all got to watch the same thing I did, which is to see the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl for the first time in 5 decades. But none of you got to see what I saw after that, which is Clay Windler crying. And then I got to hug both the Williams brothers at the same time. You know what that's like? That's like getting chokeslammed by the Brothers of Destruction. So I've had myself one hell of a night. So if you'll excuse these puffy eyes and my hoarse voice, I've had myself one hell of a night. And I appreciate all of you for joining me in it, for sure.
Man, this has been an awesome time. Check out Lance Twidwell of The Spoken. I plan on being on his show in 2 weeks with a special guest by phone. Tune in to find out who that special guest is, because we're going to have a Super Bowl show on The Spoken.
Damn right.
I cannot thank Lance Twidwell enough for The Spoken. If you could tell my viewers where to find The Spoken, Lance.
Absolutely. If you're on social media, follow us on Twitter at The Spoken Pod. Join our Facebook group. Just type in The Spoken, send your invite, and I'll bring you in. And we have a weekly podcast. You can find us on all podcast platforms. It's The Spoken Podcast, man. You're going to find a ton of Chiefs content, great guests, like my guy here, Shaggy, like Clay Windler, all the guys at Arrowhead Pride, 610 and 810 guys. We don't discriminate, man. Everybody's on our show. We have an absolute blast. Definitely join us every Friday night.
Hell yeah. The names of the people that have been on the show, been on The Spoken: Tanisha Mahomes, Ron Hughley, Darren Smith, Jay Binkley,
Kent Swanson,
at
Brandon Kiley, you name them, man.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs, freaks worldwide of all ages. That was Tony Budd, Clay Windler, Lance Twidwell of The Spoken. I will be back next weekend for your Super Bowl Shaggy Shane preview. Lance, I'm sure we'll have a show next Friday, right?
You're damn right. Are you kidding me, man? Why am I going to miss that? I'm going to wait my whole life to miss this week. You know what I mean? No show this week. Just follow my guy Shaggy Shane. No. Friday night.
Listen, episode 50 of the Spoken Podcast will be the Super Bowl podcast.
Believe it or not.
It's perfect.
It's all set up, kiddos.
Heck yeah.
Tune in.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Shaggy Shane saying see you next week. Go Chiefs! Thank you, Tony Budd, Clay Windler of Red Tribe Cinema, and Lance Twidwell of The Spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs freaks worldwide of all ages, your Kansas City Chiefs are headed to the Super Bowl to play the red and gold of the San Francisco 49ers. It's the red and yellow of the Kansas City Chiefs against the red and gold of the San Francisco 49ers. We all remember what happened last year when the Chiefs played the 49ers. At the home opener, I like the Kansas City Chiefs' chances. Yes, the 49ers got Abosa and they got D Ford. D Ford, what are you going to be thinking about all for the 2 weeks? Oh, how you were offsides? We let that go. We're a better team. Kansas City Chiefs are your AFC champions. Hell yeah, baby. These dark days were like a bad dream, but we held on to the good things. And the good things is Patrick LeVon Mahomes II taking your Chiefs to Super Bowl 54 from Arrowhead Stadium, which is 4 miles from my house, which you know is only a short drive to the countryside. Where you going? You can't run and hide. So many questions, always asking why. Why'd he go? Why'd he have to die? Ladies and gentlemen, nobody's dying because Kansas City is going to the Super Bowl. And nobody would have died anyway, which would have been heartbroken. Props to Andy Reid. Props to the Honey Badger. I haven't said enough about him all season. Great pickup. Come back next Sunday for your Kansas City Chiefs Shaggy Shane Super Bowl preview. Until next Sunday, when Shaggy Shane breaks it down, come back with me. I love you guys. We did it. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. See you next Sunday. This is Shaggy Shane saying, Go Chiefs!